guys are in the field, I don't know how much you know, if it gets boring, sorry, but try to keep people alive. So far this summer, we lost 3 guys in the field. One in Arizona got dragged out of an attic. They thought he overheated. Nope, he hit some wires. It's real easy to do when you're sweating and not paying attention. He just clipped wires and he was done. 2 other ones fell off ladders. They said, you do commercial, hot, sweaty, it's real easy to grip, ladder and slide off. I want to find out what you tend to get out of the course, what you're looking for, what I can help with. I've been in the field since the earth started cooling, it feels like. I started in this in 1979. I've done everything from window units to walk-in freezers, blast freezers, all the way up to 1,000 tons of centrifugals at the VA in Tampa. Always made a good career at it. I own my company 16 years because of a math problem, but I won't get into that now. I have books I'll hand out. Every class will give you some more handouts. I'll bring in some catalogs from the supply houses because there's a lot of good information in them, 2 of them especially. Formulas, calculations, conversion tables, and the parts. If you don't know what a part is or what to use or how to get it or what it doesn't do any good. My name is Dave Every. I own Bulldog Air Conditioning. So I started this thing back when there's only 5 refrigerators. Now, everything you want to know, it's kind of like a Bible that's not put out there that much. It's in here, and it's not a college textbook. It's for the trade. It gets hot. It gets nasty. There's issues that you need to make sure that your safety is #1 priority. As Mark said, be on time. Be a little early so you're ready to go. My truck rolls out of the shop on time. Need to know some basic math skills. Add, subtract, multiply, divide. And it's not just for installers, it's also for service techs. Converting pressures into temperatures. And so all this we'll get in more detail as the course goes on. You gotta be able to read a chart. There's a lot of stuff. Sure, everybody's got smartphones. I'll give out some websites, and for those on Facebook or even email addresses. Even as a helper, if you have to write up anything, any invoices, any notes as to installers, what material is being used, write it neatly. Doing a job, whether it's service tech or an installer, service is even more time consuming than installs. Installs is jobs that's already priced out. Material lists are just to make sure that whoever's pricing it out did their job and is profited. As a service tech, and this is for service, not for installations, if you don't record what you put into a call, the parts off the truck, it doesn't get billed out. If it's not written neatly so that the office can read it, they can't bill it out. Then all of a sudden, parts come up missing, where'd they go? Well, they got put in a job, well, prove it, it's not on paper. Always keep track of your time. Make sure you do your best to stay clean. A couple extra shirts, uniforms, throw it in a go bag. Keep it in the truck. Your appearance is everything to the customer, whether it be residential or commercial. Clean shirts before you get back in the truck. Clean your hands. Wipe them down, wash them up. Whether it's a gel hand cleaner or in the trade, there's scrubs. They're called one of the trades, out of a bucket.
Hand sanitizer?
No, hand cleaner.
Oh.
Because you're grabbing door handles, you're grabbing doorknobs, and it
Wings.
beats up the truck. and it doesn't come out at the end of the day if you wait till the end of the day. You'll be eating it for dinner. Always keep water in your truck. Keep water nearby, a cooler. Especially in the heat we're having. I pushed it too hard today, I'm cramping up tonight. Could not drink enough water working in the sun. It's real easy to get overheated, and you really don't understand that you are. Heat exhaustion is not good. Heat stroke is even worse. You start getting to the point, I'll do one more thing. Yeah, you do one more thing and they're picking you up off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, it's your life. You can only overheat so many times and you touch. Got a friend that had his own business. Heat exhaustion 3 times in an attic. He's done. He can't focus anymore. And what did he gain? Pushing out one more. Conscious of what's around you, where you walk. Residential, you go in houses. Some of the houses are interesting when you go in. You never know what you're going to walk into or what's going on. If you get a gut feeling that you really shouldn't be there, step out. Call your office. Say, I have to get something out of my truck. Notify the office. And even if you're helping, you're working with a tech, and the tech doesn't notice it because he's intent on doing whatever. Let the office know, because there might be a time that it's just time to leave. Unfortunately, in today's society, you don't know when you're getting set up for something. So when the hair on the back of your neck stands up, yeah. Never assume anything. Never assume that the power was turned off or that it stays off. I lost part of a finger, almost lost my hand because of a bad breaker. Turn the breaker off on the machine. 3 seconds earlier, I lost them all. Actually, I turned the machine off.
Yeah.
Breaker went off, put a meter on it, it was
I
dead.
actually did that today. Flipped off the wrong break.
Defective breaker.
Oh.
Because it was still in the off position. My hand's inside of a 3 horsepower motor, a pulley on a 3 horsepower motor on a rooftop. And it turned on as I took my hand out. If somebody leak checked a system and put in nitrogen and refrigerant, I can't tell you what the mix is.
Yeah.
You don't have to recover it.
No.
You got it.
Yeah.
We have a bucket of water.
Oh, the 5-gallon bucket or the 5-gallon
So if
rag?
you don't have a recovery
10 pound- the
machine,
10
you
pound
can
rag.
just pop some
Yeah, that's fine.
nitrogen in there and then
I'm not
let
even
it out.
thinking
You want to dig a hole?
You're supposed to make any attempt possible. And rumor has it, if it's recovered into a bucket, there should be water in it to kill the sound. But especially with 22, there are still some 12 stuff out there and exotic refrigerants that have to be recovered. If you don't know what it is, you're not supposed to mix refrigerants even in a recovery tank. If the system has a catastrophic failure in the compressor and the motor in the compressor burns out, it turns the oil acidic.
Black, right?
Yeah.
But
And then that acidic oil will eat up a recovery unit. So now you're to the point, you try to recover a refrigerant that's not actually in the EPA books. It's not technically the refrigerant that it started with. So if you have a burnout and you decide not to recover it, make sure you know the laws, because they're trying to prevent the refrigerant from destroying the ozone. However, if you burn refrigerant, it becomes phosgene gas, and that is toxic and cancerous. You can also die from inhaling refrigerant, from huffing refrigerant.
yeah,
And that's done. That's why we now have to use
Locking caps.
locking caps.
yeah.
And if you're installing a system as a helper working on one, depending upon the county you're in, depends upon whether you have to have colored caps, put on the system so that the next person that comes along that should be doing it knows what refrigerant's in it. Inspectors that show up on jobs, code enforcement that shows up on jobs, make sure you're doing what you can and legally as possible because you're protecting yourself. Citrus County has code enforcement that will run nights and weekends and holidays. You have to have a blue card from your employer that says you are employed. If you're working on a machine on nights or weekends or even during the day, they're nice enough to tell me, if a technician is working on a Saturday, truck's out front, and we walk up and tap them on the shoulder, they better have that blue card. If they don't, they just drive off and call the sheriff. Then you go to the Gray Bar Hotel, contracted without a license. If you have that blue card, if it's nights or weekends, they call the employer. If the employer knows you're there and says so, it's all good. If the employer says, I don't know anything about it, we're allowed to pick our truck up from the impound lot free of charge. You post bail.
Who's that?
You go to jail.
You still?
As a contractor, I have to carry my contractor's license in my wallet. If I'm stopped and they ask for my contractor's license anywhere in the state of Florida, and I don't have it, and code enforcement or inspectors having a really bad day, I could get one hell of a fine. As a contractor, my employees work for me. You guys as a helper or future technicians, installer, you don't have to be licensed other than an EPA card to deal with refrigerants. You work under my contractor's license. Well, as long as we obey the laws, we're fine. If we put an air conditioner in Joe Smith's house, and it's all done, and he says, I'm not paying you, I can't take it back.
Lien.
You can't?
Nope.
No, you're not come back in.
You have to lien the house, provided you did your paperwork first, and you have the permit hanging in the window. In the window, with a picture. And if you become a service tech and you deal with homeowners, and they won't sign the invoice when they're done, you can still get it signed. Residential is different than commercial. The best thing you can do with residential is make sure that they sign for the work to proceed. Then you're protected, you did the work you said you're going to do. When it's all done, they say, nah, I don't like it, I don't like the price, I want to negotiate it, I'm not signing it. Call the sheriff. Sheriff will come out, verify the work was done, they will sign it. And if it's a service call, then you have lien rights at that point. Installs need permits, service work does not. And you really don't want to go back to the boss and say, I just put in that $4,500 compressor and I can't get them to sign the ticket, so what do you want me to do? You document everything, print instead of script. This way there's no mistake, and well, I couldn't read it, print, clearly, legibly. Keep the truck clean. If you take the truck home, least you can do is wash it. You don't have to worry about driving back and forth to work. It's all on the boss, they're paying for it. A little respect back, keep the truck clean. There are actually laws about transporting refrigerant tanks. EPA card, what's the law about transporting refrigerant tanks?
Have to be secured,
Yeah, not under a shelf.
have to be on a refrigerant rack, or at least on, tip.
Strapped down,
Yeah,
chained
strapped
down,
or something.
not just rolling around, not not in the box they came in. If you show you care and you get through a routine, it becomes second nature. You're more valuable to the company. You're not going to destroy a vehicle. Try not to park in the driveway, even if it's a longer walk. Nothing worse than parking in the driveway and you have an oil leak. and you put a drop of oil on a driveway, and the homeowner freaks out. Leaving the street, if at all possible. If you're not sure and you are gonna park, we deal with enough boxes, take stuff out of the refrigerant box, slide it under the engine, just in case. Making sure that you stay hydrated and you try and stay awake and keep your tanks full. I actually did run the tank out of gas. You gotta take care of yourself. And yeah, I want employees to give 100%, 110% when they can, and they get rewarded. But it's gotta be done safely.
And the right way.
Yeah. It sounds stupid, but when you're out in the sun, get a straw hat. They look goofy as hell. The goofy straw hat actually does work very, very well and stuff. If you're ever on a job and you stop sweating in the summer, you're done. You're on the verge of heat exhaustion. Actually, you actually are in heat exhaustion at that point. And it's real easy to do. Unfortunately, I do it all the time. Because one more thing and I'll be done. You hit that point, you need to be driven home. Or to in care facility and get an IV. People that don't think that works, if you watch NASCAR racing and those guys are racing for 4 hours with nothing to drink, that's because before they get in that car, they just got 3 to 4 bottles pumped into them in an IV. They are hydrated. It makes a difference.
Same thing with football, same thing with basketball, same thing with baseball, any sport.
Yes, but no, a lot different. You're playing football, you have a whole team of people around you.
With the bottom.
You're a service tech, you're alone. By the time you realize you have a problem, it may be too late. There's nobody there.
Switch your Camelback.
Guy in Arizona, he's in an attic by himself. Had they got to him sooner, he may be alive. It was an hour before the homeowner called the fire department because the tech hadn't been making any noise and wasn't answering. You get up on a roof, the roof deck temperature, depending upon whether it's white or black, easily hit 160 degrees. Work boots, you need the insulation, you need to keep your feet off. Dehydrated, passed out on the roof. It's 2 hours before anybody went up to check on him. He was literally stuck to the roof, they had to peel him off. Certain air conditioners go down, there's a time frame. The clock starts ticking before everybody goes home.
What do you mean by that?
It's a production facility.
It's like playing sports, no?
If the air goes down, key pieces of equipment have to be kept cool. If they don't, worst case scenario in this plant, call the fire department. For what it's worth, I did get a call out to the VA hospital years ago. And 2,000-ton trained centrifugal chillers. They cool the main part of the hospital. Normally, there's a thing called series parallel.
Okay.
Things go in series or things go parallel.
Mhm.
Do you know what that is? Anybody have a
Yes.
question?
Uh-huh.
No.
What?
I actually forgot.
No,
Series, the light switch turns on all these lights.
it's electric.
Right. So
I'm good with
the
that.
light switch is series, but then it branches off
Yeah,
and lights everything up at this time.
yeah.
Normally, air conditioners get put in parallel on, especially chillers. You'll have a line of chillers all cooling water. This was designed that the first chiller started cooling the water and then sent it to the second chiller,
To your cold
Before
room.
the hospital.
Right.
almost like Cascade, but not as elaborate. And these machines were huge. I said, that's fine, I will work on it, but tag on the panel said 4160, 460, 4160. So get the electricians up here, put a meter on it, I wanna make sure it's dead. The assistant AC supervisor said, I'll check it for you, open the panel up and put a fluorescent light in and said it's dead. Like, yeah, good joke. Open the panel next to it that was live and put the fluorescent bulb in there and it lit.
Just ambient energy did that?
Yes,
That is nuts.
hence pants,
Yeah.
sparks jump. There is electricity circuit in the air. And he did wipe his hand down and make sure he was dry before he did it. So, electrician came out with a meter on a 4-foot fiberglass stick and put it on a probe that says it's dead. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll work on it. And there is no such thing as 3/4 inch fuses. People will lose fuses and they take 3/4 inch copper and replace fuses with 3/4 inch copper.
That's true.
Because it's the same size.
You know,
This is a whole progression. There's a lot to learn to be able to be a helper and to be able to go home at the end of the day alive with fingers and toes. You just want to make sure that no matter what you do, we'll go into what parts are and how to handle them, do some diagnostics and some soldering, recovery stuff. Can't let you recover because you have to be certified for it. Hence the EPA and the eternal pain in it. We have issues to deal with that general public doesn't seem to want to understand or think. They think they could buy items offline and expect it to work or expect somebody to put it in. And right now, today is about safety and starting it, some basic tools. Controls for an air conditioner and straight voltage to an air conditioner are not always the same. Thermostat wiring finally has been standardized to red, yellow, white, blue, green. But there are even the mini split air conditioners where you have the head inside and the condenser outside. Mitsubishi is one of the most common brands
for what?
for manufacturers.
Hmm.
You get 4 wires from inside to outside. Mitsubishi 1 and 2 are 220 volts. 2 and 3 are running different voltage through it, they backdoor through number 2. And the communication side is basically number 3, number 4 is ground. If you buy one of the other larger brands called GREE, G-R-E-E, they're number 1 in China because it's made by the People's Republic of China, it says right on the box. 1 and 3 are 220 volt. Number 1 and number 2 are communication, 2 is primarily communication. So you never assume anything, always check, because what may be for one machine may not be for the other. If you're changing out fans, never assume that's all turned off. Always put a meter on. I don't know when it's gonna turn on, and there's components in there that store a charge. And even when it's turned off, it will still ruin your day. The tools of the trade. There's a lot of nicknames for tools that you don't wanna use. Knuckle busters. Typical adjustable wrench. They're called knuckle busters because they slip at the most inopportune time, and you rip your knuckles open when you slice it into the coil, and then you wind up damaging the coil, or you bust a refrigerant line, and then you got a mess. Keep your tools clean, keep them organized. Your backpacks look nice. You pack everything in, and you carry them.
Use a vet net.
Typically, when I go out for a service call, I have a very small backpack that clips onto my pocket, a tool pouch that clips onto my pocket.
Hmm.
I carry a meter, small adjustable, small channel locks, 6 and 1 screwdriver. As a service tech, you gotta find out what's wrong first. You can carry everything you want, and you won't have everything you need. And keep your tools clean, keep them organized. Quality counts. You're gonna start off as a helper, yeah, it's gonna be a limited budget to start with tools. Do the best you can. The better the tool, the safer you're gonna be, because it's not gonna slip at the wrong time and put you in harm's way. Meters, electric meters, they're all different range of quality and price. You don't have. Field Piece is a brand that's everywhere. However, they're dwindling off. There's UEI, which has been around a lot longer than Field Piece and a lot more reliable.
It's not.
Tool pouches are nice, you can put stuff in it, but you collect a lot of garbage that you may not need to carry. Keep it simple. You know, you're going to, as a service tech, to find out what's wrong. You don't need to bring your truck up. And one of the ongoing arguments we always had with upper management, said, yeah, here's the backpack, and everybody got one, and we had our company logo on it, it has everything you're supposed to put in it. You can't climb a damn ladder with it because you're overweight. Going there to find out what's wrong. Yeah, pack a bag, when you find out what's wrong and you got a major repair, you're gonna know what you need then. Pack a bag, pack a bucket. I'm not a big advocate of 5-gallon buckets, but man, they sure come up good when you need to work on it and you're sitting down for a long time.
So 5-gallon buckets are the best.
5-gallon buckets are good and they're evil because they collect everything. When you get back to your truck, you have a habit of, well, I'll put it away later, it goes in a bucket.
It just accumulates, yeah.
Who's gonna pay you to empty it? Who's gonna pay you to put the stuff back on the shelf? You pulled up to a job, everything was on your shelf in your truck, everything was put away where it needed to be. You did a job, the customer paid for the job, part of the job is cleanup. Things get put away, you get cleaned up, then they sign the ticket. Unless you like working for free. I'm a service-based company. My truck is not big enough. And I have everything right down to an extended Ford van. That's one of the older versions. That is a full-size van. And we carry so much stuff. It sits on the floor. And I can tell you exactly what everything is in my truck, but the shelves aren't big enough because of everything you have to carry. You carry, depending upon what you do, if you're residential, they're making it harder to stock motors because there's 5 different motors, plus the specialty frame motors with the stupid wings off the side. How many can you carry on the truck? Into the commercial side, there's different horsepower ratings, different voltages, different RPMs. You get there to fix it, you gotta fix it. The truck gets heavy. All the tools that you have to carry, the pullers, to change pullers, to get fan blades off. Right tool for the right job. You don't take a 3-arm puller to pull a fan blade off of a shaft because you bend the hell out of it. They have pullers just for that. You grab the hub and you pull it off that way. Most tools are disposable. The limit to what you can do in anything is your imagination. Commercial side, you change your pulleys, you get the puller to pull it off. Yeah, you clean the shaft, you put lubrication on it, and you have to fight. But gee, take your car to the repair shop. They put an impact gun on the end of that puller, and it slides right off. Well, we could do the same thing. Impact guns, battery operated. Why bust your knuckles trying to get it off? And it's, how'd you get it done so fast? You could work hard, or you could work smart. Screwdrivers slip, screwdrivers break. Quality does matter. If the tool looks bad, don't use it. We climb ladders. If the ladder has any problems, do not use it. It's a fiberglass ladder, and you slide your hand down the side, or it looks like it's not shiny anymore, it's dull, don't use it.
Yeah.
Part of that reasoning is the shine on a fiberglass ladder is the coating on top, and it also becomes structural. So when that coating is wore off, you're exposed to fibers. Long pieces of fiberglass that as you slide down and you run your hand down, you will get it buried in your finger, in your palm.
So why are there fiberglass ladders then?
Electricians, they do not conduct electricity.
Okay.
They're heavy as hell, but they won't conduct electricity. If you deal with ladders on a commercial side, even as a helper, you're gonna wind up setting everything up, breaking everything down. Or as a tech and you're on your own. Tie your ladder off on the roof. When you get to it, tie it to the gutter, tie it to a downspout, tie it to a unit. If the wind comes by and blows the ladder down, you're screwed. And yeah, it does go down at the worst opportune time. Even, no joke, when you're on a roof, because I got the call, a technician in Orlando, call the fire department, get me off the roof. What happened to your ladder? Somebody stole it. Please keep in the back of your mind, if the fire department has to get you off the roof with one of their ladders, their steps are not the same as ours. They're a lot farther apart. So when you start to get used to stepping down a ladder, you're used to it. When you get on one of their ladders, they're a lot farther apart. That ground comes up a lot quicker when you step. And they'll laugh at you. This is a trade, any of the construction trades. We are hurting for help. By 2020, almost 500,000 techs short.
What do they start trainees at?
I can't.
I can tell you
because-
for me, starting out as like fresh, never done it before, $10 an hour. That's not what I make now, but
It makes
How much
12.
you make now?
That's what you're gonna get anywhere.
I make 12 now.
No,
Like anything else, nobody ever really masters anything.
The trade has gotten to the point, I have been offered, shut it down and go to work for a major corporation, starting at $52 an hour with full benefits, plumbers. And being serious about how much, help us say about taking care of the trucks, putting everything away. Yeah, I'm an owner. I was also a service tech since '79. I had an employee that, when I had enough of this lack of caring, shall we say, there was no smoking in the trucks because there's a habit of not keeping them up. And clean the windows of the trucks because you have to be able to see. I had a 8-month-old Dodge Sprinter with $5,000 of material cost in the back that was destroyed because it was on the floor with about 2 gallons of coil cleaner poured on top of it.
A coil cleaner? Oh.
Yeah,
Or you just,
yeah, brand new jugs that he stood on and popped the tops because he was climbing in the back of the truck
Here, Keith.
instead of putting things away. Everything went on the floor of the truck. Top shelves, Rick.
Can I use the restroom?
See, listen. But maybe he didn't like the job.
Not only did I, he's still doing it for somebody else.
Yeah.
Not only did I fire him, I damn near needed bail money. Brand new truck and all that stuff destroyed. Then I started going back on jobs he was on. Opening up door panels on machines, cigarette butts in the machines.
That's nasty.
That's not our stuff, that's the customer's stuff. That's just,
well, that's just professionalism, that's all.
this will be better than the next one. It's work clean, work smart, work safe. You're worth a lot more. You'll learn a lot more, you'll go far. And don't believe all the myths that are out there. There is a lot of myths on how to fix things, shortcuts. They're not there. They never really were. It's just a shortcut. We're dealing with refrigerants 10 years, 5 years, since the new refrigerants rolled out. That is very difficult to work with properly. The new refrigerant for residential, for air conditioning is 410A. It's a blended refrigerant. The old R22 used to use mineral-based oil to lubricate the compressor and run through the system. Okay. The new refrigerants have to use polyester oil, which technical term is hydroscopic. It absorbs so much moisture, and because I've done refrigeration for so long, we were using it before it hit residential market. When it's exposed to the atmosphere, if I put a half a cup of oil and a half of mineral oil and half a cup of polyester oil on the counter, and we came back tomorrow, we'd have a half a cup of mineral oil, and the polyester oil would be coated the table. It will swell and expand so much, and you can't get that out of the oil. We use vacuum pumps. It does some, but you have to change dryers after dryers to get it all out because it doesn't come out.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes a gigantic mess of the system. So when you're working on something and you have to pull the refrigerant out, remember, if that was your stuff you're working on, you want somebody to use as much care as possible. If you have to open a system, or you're helping open a system, as little time open to the atmosphere as possible. Duct tape and electrical tape work really well for service tank, because if you open up a refrigerant line, tape it shut if you have to go get parts. At least you're making an attempt, and you are keeping some of the moisture out, because you can't get it out. And you will trash another compressor. This industry has gotten so bad for lack of technology, lack of technicians that care. The average system, brand new system, if you put it in a residential system, the manufacturers figure 3 compressors will be eaten up in 10 years because of lack of caring when you work.